All right, welcome back. So we got our AOI identified. Now, I'm using the Casper College Ranch campus. For you, whenever you're identifying the place, what I would encourage you to do, and I should have mentioned this in the first video, is I want you to try and find a place that you're actually going to be collecting soil samples off of. So we've collected some soil samples off the ranch campus, so we're going to be dealing with that later on in the semester whenever we're actually starting to sample this. But think about your own situation, and ideally what I would like for you to do is identify a place. Maybe it's your family's operation, maybe it's a specific field in the family's operation, or there's just the whole entire family operation altogether that you're going to be pulling soil samples off of. So if you've got family land or a family operation, try to use that place. Let's say that you don't have a family operation. That's just fine. Try to use maybe a family friend, or maybe you've got a friend who has property, or you have a neighbor who's got property, and they say, yeah, I want to know kind of a little bit about this area. Try to use something like that, a place that you're actually going to possibly take soil samples off of. And if you can't find anything like that, try to use your own backyard. And if you still can't find anything like that, let me know, and we'll work together to try and get around that. So try to use a property that you're familiar with, or that you might actually sample off of it. So we've got our AOI identified. We did that back here under this area of interest. We went ahead and labeled it, and then we go into the soil map, and that's where we're going to pick up at. We have this property identified, and if you look, it reads the number 200 right there. So what that 200 is it's actually the map unit symbol. We're actually going to do another example from a different property here a little bit later, and those map unit symbols are actually going to be letters. But here they actually identify it as a number. So we've got this AOI. So the next thing we want to do is I want to go up here to this printable version. So I'm going to click on that printable version. I'm going to say area of interest name, ranch campus. I'm going to leave that. That's why we went ahead and named it. And then fit to page, landscape, and I'm going to say view. What that's going to bring up is it's actually going to bring up a printable map of that soil type. And there it is right there. So we've got this, the map of the area, and it's going to show up, and it's going to say, hey, here are our boundaries, and this is all area 200. So if we scroll down, it gives us a map legend. And then it's going to tell us, hey, this is what the soil type is. That's that map unit symbol. And then this is the map unit name. So this is actually called Highland Loamy Sand Gravelly Substratum 1 to 6% slopes. It's actually going to measure out the amount of acreage and then the percentage of that land that's actually under that particular type of soil. So now that we've got this actually as a PDF, I want you to make sure that you download this. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to download that. And then I'm going to just go ahead and put it in a file. And I'm going to put it in my soils file. And I'm going to call this Ranch Campus. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. So you're going to actually have to upload that map into Moodle whenever all this is said and done. So now that we've got this map, I want you to go and look at the next particular aspect. The next particular aspect is, this is telling us, hey, this is Highland Loamy Sand Gravelly Substratum 1 to 6% slopes. That's telling us quite a bit of information right there. But it's got a lot more information that we can get. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to click on this map unit name. Now, in certain situations, there may be more than one map unit within that particular field or that particular property. And what you're going to do is you're going to need to download or open up all of those individual map unit names. So I'm going to click right here, and it's going to bring up this printable version, or it's going to bring up this report. It's the map unit description. So it's going to tell you everything about this Highland Loamy Sand Gravelly Substratum, everything that's going along with that map unit 200. I'm going to click on printable version. Again, I'm going to make sure that it's labeled that area of interest, ranch campus, and I'm going to click view. So then it brings up this documentation. It brings up this report. So this report's going to tell us a lot of information. And what I'd like for you to do is whenever you pull these up, make sure you read through all of these and really look at what all the information it's giving you. So it's going to be giving you, hey, what is the elevation of this particular property? What is the mean annual precipitation? So here, this mean annual precipitation is 10 to 14 degrees. What's that annual air temperature there? About 45 to 50 degrees. What is the frost-free period, or 105 to 130 days? Why is this information important? I mean, this is giving you a lot of information. If we know a crop takes 20 to 30 inches of rainfall, we now know that we're probably not going to plant it in this area because we're just not getting enough rainfall. Or we're going to know that we're going to need some irrigation on that place. Also, if we've got a long growing plant, something that's going to take a long time to grow, mature, and fruit, we know that maybe, something that's going to take 2/3 of a year, 200 days, we know we probably aren't going to plant it here because you're probably going to get a frost on it before you need to harvest it. So that gives you a lot of information right there. If we scroll down, this just gives you a lot more information, like the typical soil profile. So we know that from the first couple of inches, it's typically going to be loamy sand. 2 to 7 inches is sandy loam. And then as we get a little bit deeper into about 7 to 22 inches, we're going to be dealing with kind of that sandy clay loam. And it gives you a soil profile. It gives you properties and qualities as well. Another major classification, another major key deal that I want you to look at is I want you to look at the land capability classifications. So this is actually, this particular property, the ranch campus, has land capability classification of the irrigated property as E3. Whereas non-irrigated is going to be 3E, and this is going to be 4E. So what does that mean? What does that 3E and that 4E mean? Well, you're going to have to look that up and dive into that a little bit. I'll show you where to find that here in the next video. It also has some other important aspects like ecological site, hydraulic soil rating, hydraulic soil group B. It brings in a lot of different information just of what the parent material is as well. So right here, it talks about the parent material. This is alluvium derived from sandstone and shale. So it's that alluvium parent material that's typically found along rivers. And that makes sense because we're relatively close to the North Platte River where we're at on the ranch campus. So this talks a lot about that particular information. So what you're going to need to do is dive into this information and look up this information on all those properties.